Good evening, guys. Tonight we're going to be doing, I'm getting ready for bed again. As you can see, I'm in my nice pajamas. And I'm going to be reading more of the Empaths Survival Guide. So I thought, again, as usual, we would read along together and learn a little bit more about empaths. So where we left off last time was we were going through the self-assessment of, checking to see if you are an empath, or if maybe you can answer some of these questions for people closer to you. And then we were going to touch on the advantages and challenges of being an empath. And where we left off was common challenges. So the first section has to do with common challenges of being an empath. And again, this is a book written by Judith Orloff MD, who is an empath and a medical physician. Okay, common challenges. Once you begin to deal with the challenges of being an empath and gain more coping skills, you will really enjoy all the advantages. The common challenges I've known and seen with my patients include the following: becoming overstimulated. Since you don't possess the same defenses as others, you may often feel like you have raw nerve endings and burn out easily. Without enough alone time to replenish yourself and wind down each day, you will suffer from the toxic effects of overstimulation and sensory overload. Absorbing the stress and negativity of others. Sometimes you can't tell if an emotion or sense of bodily discomfort is your own or someone else's. Taking on other people's distress can lead to a variety of physical and emotional symptoms in you, from pain to anxiety. Feeling things intensely. You may be unable to watch violent or upsetting movies about people or animals because the brutality hurts too much. You may carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, feeling the pain of others in your life or those you witness suffering in the news or around you. Experiencing emotional and social hangovers. When you're around too many people or intense emotions, the malaise of sensory overload can linger long after the event. Feeling isolated and lonely. You may isolate yourself or keep yourself distant from people because the world seems so overwhelming. As a result, others may view you as standoffish. Like many empaths, you may be hypervigilant at scanning your environment to ensure that it is safe, which others can perceive as a signal to stay away. You may also freeze around inauthentic people, which can convey aloofness. But this is clearly a protective device. Some empaths prefer socializing online to keep others at a distance, so there's less of a tendency to absorb their discomfort and stress. Experiencing emotional burnout. A downside of being so compassionate is that people flock to you to tell you their life stories. Ever since I was a child, it's as if I wore a sign saying, "I can help you." This is why empaths must set clear boundaries with others and not overgive. Coping with increased sensitivity to light, smell, taste, touch, temperature, and sound. For many empaths and myself, loud noises and bright lights are painful. They penetrate and shock our bodies. I hold my ears when an ambulance goes by. Hearing leaf blowers and loud machinery is jarring. I also can't tolerate the explosive blasts of fireworks. They startle me, and I react like a frightened dog reacts. Empaths have an enhanced startle response. Let me rewind that. Startle response. To intense sensory input. Strong smells and chemicals, such as exhaust and perfumes, make us feel queasy, allergic, or suffocated. We're also sensitive to temperature extremes and may dislike air conditioning. Our bodies can be energized or depleted by intense weather, such as a thunderstorm, gusty winds, or a snowfall. Many empaths are energized by a bright full moon, while others are agitated by it. Expressing needs in an intimate relationship. Now remember, we're talking about common challenges. Empaths have specific needs when living in the same space or sharing a bed with someone. Many require a separate space and sometimes a separate bed to feel comfortable. It's important for empaths to have conversations with their partners about their specific needs. All right, now this section here is talking about special challenges depending on your gender and being an empath. An empath's sensitivities can be challenging in different ways for men and women, though of course there is much overlap. For instance, male empaths are often ashamed of their sensitivities and reluctant to talk about them. They may feel they're not masculine enough. They have had to fight gender stereotypes and were probably warned not to be a crybaby and to act like a man. Boys are taught that strong men don't cry, and sensitive boys can be bullied at school for being sissies. Male empaths may not be attracted to football, soccer, or aggressive contact sports, and so they may be excluded and shamed by the other boys. Consequently, male empaths may repress their emotions and eventually even forget that they have them. For all these reasons, they often suffer in silence, which can negatively impact their relationships, careers, and health. Highly sensitive men who are famous include Abraham Lincoln, Albert Einstein, and Jim Carrey. I find sensitive men incredibly attractive. I love Alanis Morissette's song, In Praise of the Vulnerable Man. To become well-balanced, men must own their sensitive sides. I'm not talking about overly feminized men who have not learned to embody the masculine, but rather balanced men who are strong enough to be sensitive and secure enough to be vulnerable. Such men have a high emotional IQ. They are not afraid of emotions, their own or others. This makes them compassionate and attractive partners, friends, and leaders. In contrast, female empaths in Western culture are given more permission to express their emotions and female intuition, that's what they call it, though by no means does our world embrace feminine power. Throughout much of history, the feminine has been squashed. Think of the Inquisition during the Dark Ages or the Salem witch trials, where many sensitives were convicted of witchcraft and killed. When I first started speaking about intuition to groups, I was afraid I would be harmed. But once I realized I was tuning into the collective energy of women seers who had been suppressed over the ages, I discovered that today is a different time. It is much safer to express my voice now, so my discomfort has lifted. Similarly, many of my female patients have been reluctant to authentically express their sensitivities for fear of being misunderstood, judged, or abandoned. It's important that we learn to be authentic in relationships about our empathic needs. Also, for some women empaths, empathy can turn into codependency. They have such big hearts that they can get caught up in caretaking roles, attending to others more than they attend to themselves. A female empath who is balanced knows how to set boundaries with her time and energy. She learns to give and receive in a balanced way, a powerful combination. Female empaths who are famous include Nicole Kidman, Jewel, her song Sensitive is about empaths, Winona Ryder, Alanis Morissette, and Princess Diana. I would say none of those surprise me except maybe Nicole Kidman, but that just could be biased. Let's see how much we have. Okay, I'll read one more section. Thriving as an empath, skills to prevent overload. Throughout this book, I'll be sharing skills to help empaths manage the challenges and enhance the many advantages of their abilities. Although society may say empaths are too sensitive and suggest that we toughen up, I encourage empaths to develop their sensitivities even more while staying centered with them. Being an empath is a huge asset when you learn to manage it. Empaths are not crazy, neurotic, weak, or hypochondriacs. They are wonderful, sensitive people with a gift, but all of us need tools to cope. A skill that sensitive people must learn is how to deal with sensory overload when too much is coming at them too quickly. This can leave them exhausted, anxious, depressed, or sick. Like many of us, you may feel there is no on-off switch for your empathy. This is not true. I'll show you how to take charge of your sensitivities rather than feeling victimized by them. When you feel protected and safe, the world will become your playground. To gain a sense of safety, recognize some of the common factors that contribute to empathy overload. Once you begin to identify your triggers, you can quickly act to remedy a situation. What makes an empath's overload symptoms worse? Fatigue, illness, rushing, traffic, crowds, loud environments, toxic people, low blood sugar, arguing, overwork, chemical sensitivities, too much socializing, and feeling trapped in overstimulating situations such as parties and cruises. That makes total sense because the thought of going on a cruise, it just sends me. I don't know. I can't do it. People have tried to sing their praises, but I'm good. Any combination of these conditions intensifies an empath's overload. Therefore, keep the following in mind. Stress plus low blood sugar equals drama and exhaustion. What makes an empath's overload symptoms better? When I experience sensory overload, I need to slow everything down and unplug from all stimulation. If it gets really intense, I feel like a flower that's wilting, and that's when I need sustenance from stillness. I often retreat to a room without sound or bright light, and I sleep or meditate to recalibrate myself at a lower level of stimulation. Sometimes solitude for an entire day or a weekend is necessary if my sensory overload is extreme. Still, during such times, I may take short walks out in nature and limit my trips out to take care of errands. The problem is that empaths often see things as all or nothing. Either we're on the go or we are retreating to the safe haven of home. I suggest that you moderate this radical stance so that you can find balance and not suffer from undue isolation or loneliness. Listen to your intuition about what is right for you. Each of us has to find our own way in honoring our needs. To deal with overload, a patient told me, only one-to-one contact with people is bearable. Groups just feel too intense. Yet another patient explained to me, I decompress at night when everyone is sleeping and the whole world is resting. The invisible energetic buzz of the day quiets down and I can relax and focus. In addition, shielding is a basic skill I recommend to prevent empathic overload. Shielding is a quick way to protect yourself. Many empaths rely on it to block out toxic energy while still allowing for the free flow of positive energies. I suggest you regularly use this skill. The minute you're uncomfortable with the person, place, or situation, put up your shield. Use it at an airport, at a party if you're talking to an energy vampire, or in a doctor's packed waiting room. Shielding puts you in a safe bubble where you won't be afraid. And then there is a shielding exercise. So since I just told you about shielding, I'm going to give you the exercise so that if you want to try it, you can do it. Shielding visualization for empaths. Allow at least 5 minutes for this exercise. Find a quiet and protected space. Make sure that you won't be interrupted. Loosen your clothing and find a position that's comfortable, perhaps sitting cross-legged on the floor or upright on a chair. Begin by taking a few deep, long breaths. Breathe in, really feel the inhalation, and then exhale, really letting out a big exhalation. Feel the sensuality of the breath, the connection to prana, the sacred life force. Let all thoughts drift by like clouds in the sky, returning your breath over and over again to find your center. Feel a core of energy running from your toes, throughout your body, and up through the top of your head. Focusing on this will keep you centered. In this relaxed state, visualize a beautiful shield of white or pink light surrounding your body completely and extending a few inches beyond it. This shield protects you from anything negative, stressful, toxic, or intrusive. Within the protection of the shield, feel yourself centered, happy, and energized. This shield blocks out negativity, though at the same time you can still feel what is positive and loving. Get used to the sensation of the shield protecting your body. You can visualize the shield whenever you suspect you're absorbing someone else's energy. To close, inwardly say thank you for this protection. Take a long, deep breath in and out, and then slowly open your eyes. Come back to the room and be in your body fully, 100%. Along with shielding, daily self-care for empaths involves eating well and minimizing stress. In addition, certain actions are a balm for both body and soul. These include taking quiet alone time, associating with positive people, being in nature, immersing yourself in water to clear negative energy, meditating, exercising, and defining limits with energy vampires. Empaths need to regularly incorporate these forms of self-care into their lives. I'm also a big believer in personal rituals and meditations. And there is a grounding meditation that I will share with you next time. So next time we will talk about the power of grounding and earthing, which I think is super important for everybody, but maybe a little bit more, I don't know, maybe get more of an added benefit if you're an empath. And then there is a protection strategy with a grounding and earthing visualization. Okay, so we will leave off right there for tonight, and we will pick up with a few more practices and visualizations that we can use. But hopefully that one that I shared with you this evening, if you wanted to give it a try, that might be helpful for you. Or if you don't find that helpful, there are many, many things in here that we can both learn from together. So until next time, when we do video number 4, reading our book together and learning about empaths. Take care. Bye-bye.